Returning home from a long day at work, I, Jason, was looking forward to a quiet evening with my wife, Amanda. Little did I know that this night would change my life forever. As I pulled into the driveway, I noticed an unusual number of cars parked outside our house. Puzzled, I hurried inside, only to be greeted by the loud sounds of laughter and music. Our living room was filled with our friends and colleagues, enjoying a party that I had no idea was happening. Amanda, in the center of the room, was laughing and mingling with everyone, seemingly oblivious to my arrival. "Jason, you're home!" she exclaimed, rushing over to kiss me. I decided to throw a little get-together. I hope you don't mind. Caught off guard, I forced a smile and nodded. Of course not, Amanda. It looks like everyone is having a great time. As the night progressed, I tried to shake off the feeling of unease. Amanda seemed unusually attentive to her phone, frequently glancing at it and smiling. Curiosity got the better of me, and when she left her phone unattended on the kitchen counter, I seized the opportunity. A glance at the screen revealed messages from an unknown number. My heart pounded as I read the words. "Can't wait to see you again, babe. Michael." The intimate tone and the use of babe sent a cold shiver down my spine. Who was this Michael, and what was he to Amanda? Determined not to jump to conclusions, I decided to keep my discovery to myself for the time being. I needed more evidence before confronting Amanda. The rest of the night passed in a blur, my mind racing with questions and suspicions. The next morning, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I took a day off from work, claiming I needed a break, and followed Amanda as she left the house. To my dismay, I watched her meet a man at a nearby cafe. The same man whose name appeared in the messages, Michael. I felt a mix of anger and betrayal swell within me, but I knew I needed more concrete proof. That evening, I installed a hidden camera in our living room, hoping to catch them in the act if they dared to bring their affair into our home. Days turned into weeks, and I meticulously reviewed the footage every night. Then it happened. On a rainy Thursday afternoon, while I was supposed to be at work, Michael came to our house. They laughed, embraced, and shared a kiss, confirming my worst fears. Confronting Amanda that evening, I tried to keep my emotions in check. "Amanda, we need to talk," I began, my voice trembling with restrained anger. But she dismissed my concerns, accusing me of being paranoid and distrustful. I knew then that simple confrontation wouldn't suffice. I needed a plan that would expose her betrayal to everyone and ensure she faced the consequences of her actions. The seed of revenge was planted, and I began to nurture it with meticulous care. This was no longer just about my heartbreak. This was about justice, and I was determined to see it through. The days following my confrontation with Amanda were a blur of emotions and sleepless nights. Every time I looked at her, a mixture of anger and sorrow welled up inside me. But I knew that acting on impulse would only complicate things further. I needed to be methodical, precise, and above all, patient. One evening, while Amanda was out supposedly running errands, I decided to search through her belongings for any additional evidence of her infidelity. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for. Hidden in the drawer of her nightstand was a collection of receipts from fancy restaurants and hotels, all places we had never been to together. Each receipt bore a familiar date, aligning perfectly with the nights she had claimed to be working late or spending time with friends. Armed with this new evidence, I realized that I needed to take my investigation to the next level. Confronting her again with mere receipts wouldn't be enough. I had to catch them in the act, with irrefutable proof that would leave no room for excuses. That's when I decided to hire a private investigator. After a bit of research, I found Jack, a seasoned detective with a reputation for discretion and effectiveness. Meeting him in a dimly lit cafe, I laid out my suspicions and shared the evidence I had collected so far. Jack listened intently, nodding occasionally. "I understand, Jason. This isn't the first case of infidelity I've handled. I'll need a week to gather more evidence, but rest assured, we'll get to the bottom of this." The following days were a tormenting mix of anticipation and dread. Jack kept me updated on his progress, sharing details of Amanda's clandestine meetings with Michael. It turned out they had a routine, meeting at a secluded spot in the park, before heading to various upscale locations. Finally, the day came when Jack handed me a folder filled with photographs and detailed reports. The images were damning. Amanda and Michael, hand in hand, entering a luxury hotel. They shared intimate moments in public, completely oblivious to the fact that they were being watched. I spent hours poring over the evidence, feeling a mix of vindication and heartbreak. The woman I had loved and trusted had been living a double life, and now I had the proof. But simply knowing the truth wasn't enough. I needed to make sure everyone else knew it too. With the evidence in hand, I began to devise my plan for the ultimate revelation. Amanda's birthday was approaching, and I decided it would be the perfect occasion. I would invite our friends and family for a grand celebration, under the guise of throwing her a surprise party. Little did she know, the real surprise would be on her. The night before the party, I prepared everything meticulously. I transferred the photographs and videos onto a laptop, creating a slideshow that would play on our living room television. I rehearsed what I would say, knowing that my words had to be as impactful as the evidence itself. The day of the party arrived, and our house was filled with laughter and chatter. Amanda was beaming, completely unaware of the storm that was about to hit. As the evening progressed, I gathered everyone in the living room, claiming I had prepared a special presentation for Amanda. With everyone seated and the lights dimmed, I began. Amanda, you've been the love of my life for so many years. Today, I want to celebrate you, but I also want to share something important with everyone here. I clicked play on the slideshow, and as the first images appeared on the screen, a collective gasp filled the room. Amanda's face went pale, and she looked at me with a mixture of fear and anger. The evidence spoke for itself, and there was no denying the truth. The room erupted in whispers and shocked murmurs as the slideshow continued. Friends and family looked at Amanda with disbelief and disappointment. She tried to speak, but her words were drowned out by the weight of the evidence. When the slideshow ended, I turned to face her. Amanda, you've betrayed not only me, but everyone who trusted and cared for you. This isn't just about infidelity. This is about the lies and deceit you've woven into our lives. Amanda fled the room in tears, but the damage was done. The truth was out, and there was no going back. As the guests began to leave, offering me words of support and sympathy, I felt a strange sense of relief. The burden of secrecy was lifted, and I could finally begin to move on. But this was just the beginning. The divorce proceedings were next, and I was determined to ensure that Amanda faced the full consequences of her actions. Justice would be served, and I would emerge stronger, ready to rebuild my life. The revelation at Amanda's birthday party had been explosive, leaving no doubt about her betrayal. In the days that followed, our home became a battleground of silence and tension. Amanda tried to apologize, to explain herself, but her words fell on deaf ears. I was beyond listening, consumed by the need for justice and closure. I spent hours with my lawyer preparing for the divorce proceedings. We meticulously gathered all the evidence, ensuring that the case against Amanda was airtight. It wasn't just about ending our marriage. It was about making sure she understood the gravity of her actions and faced the consequences. Amanda moved out of the house, taking refuge with her parents. Our children, Olivia and Ethan, stayed with me, confused and hurt by the sudden upheaval in their lives. I did my best to shield them from the worst of it, but the scars were unavoidable. I explained things to them as gently as I could, assuring them that none of this was their fault. Amid this turmoil, I found an unexpected ally in Rachel, a colleague from work. We had always been friendly, but as she learned about my situation, she offered a shoulder to lean on and an understanding ear. Our conversations were a balm to my wounded soul, slowly helping me to regain a sense of normalcy. Meanwhile, the private investigator, Jack, continued to keep an eye on Amanda and Michael. His reports revealed that their relationship was now under immense strain. The public exposure of their affair had turned their romance into a source of stress and conflict. It was a small consolation, knowing that they were facing the consequences of their actions. The day of the first court hearing arrived. I walked into the courtroom with my lawyer by my side, feeling a mix of anxiety and determination. Amanda looked fragile and remorseful, but I reminded myself of the pain she had caused. The hearing was a blur of legal jargon and emotional testimonies. In the end, the judge granted me full custody of Olivia and Ethan, as well as a significant portion of our shared assets. With the legal battles mostly behind me, I began to focus on rebuilding my life. I immersed myself in my work, finding solace in the familiar routines and challenges. Rachel and I grew closer, our bond deepening as we spent more time together. She became a source of strength and inspiration, helping me to see that life could go on, and even flourish, after such a devastating betrayal. One evening, as I was sorting through some old boxes in the attic, I came across a photo album from the early years of my marriage to Amanda. Flipping through the pages, I felt a pang of nostalgia and regret. We had shared so many happy moments and built a life together, and now it was all in ruins. But rather than dwell on the past, I resolved to learn from it. I wouldn't let this experience define me or dictate my future. I decided to take Olivia and Ethan on a weekend trip to the countryside, hoping to create some positive memories amidst the chaos. We hiked through the woods, played games, and spent the evenings by the campfire, sharing stories and laughter. It was a healing experience for all of us, a reminder that despite everything, we still had each other. Upon returning home, I was greeted with an unexpected message from Amanda. She wanted to meet and talk, to try and find some semblance of closure. Reluctantly, I agreed, knowing that this conversation was inevitable. We met at a quiet cafe, sitting across from each other in uncomfortable silence. Amanda looked worn and defeated, her usual confidence shattered. She started to speak, her voice trembling with emotion. "Jason, I know I can't undo what I've done, but I want you to know that I'm truly sorry. I never meant to hurt you or the kids. I was selfish and foolish, and now I'm paying the price for it." I listened, feeling a strange mix of pity and anger. "Amanda, it's too late for apologies. What's done is done. I hope you find a way to make peace with yourself, but I need to move on, for my sake and the kids." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I understand, I just needed you to know that I'm sorry." As we parted ways, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. The chapter with Amanda was finally closing, and a new one was beginning. I walked away from that cafe with a sense of closure and a renewed determination to build a better future for myself and my children. Back at home, Rachel was waiting for me, a warm smile on her face. She had become an integral part of my life, a beacon of hope in the aftermath of the storm. As we sat together, discussing plans for the future, I realized that sometimes, out of the darkest moments, the brightest opportunities arise. And with Rachel by my side, I was ready to embrace whatever came next. With the divorce proceedings mostly behind me and custody of Olivia and Ethan secured, life slowly began to stabilize. I immersed myself in my work and focused on providing a sense of normalcy for my children. Rachel became a constant presence, her support and companionship easing the transition into this new chapter of our lives. One evening, after putting Olivia and Ethan to bed, I received a call from Jack, the private investigator. His voice was calm, but carried a sense of urgency. "Jason, I think you should know that Amanda and Michael's relationship is deteriorating rapidly. Michael has been seeing someone else, and Amanda is devastated." I thanked Jack for the update and hung up the phone, feeling a strange sense of satisfaction. Amanda's betrayal had come full circle, and now she was facing the same pain she had inflicted on me. It was a small victory, but it didn't bring me the closure I sought. I knew that true peace would only come from moving forward and leaving the past behind. The next morning, as I was preparing breakfast, Rachel arrived with a bright smile. "I have a surprise for you," she said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "How about a weekend getaway? Just you and me, no kids, no work, just some time to relax and recharge." I hesitated, thinking about Olivia and Ethan, but Rachel quickly reassured me. "I've already arranged for your parents to take care of the kids. They'd love to spend some quality time with their grandchildren." Relieved and grateful, I agreed. The idea of escaping the daily grind, even for a few days, was incredibly appealing. Rachel and I packed our bags and headed to a quaint cabin in the mountains, a secluded retreat surrounded by nature's beauty. The weekend was everything I needed and more. We hiked through scenic trails, enjoyed leisurely picnics by the lake, and spent the evenings by the fireplace, talking about our hopes and dreams. It was a time of healing and reconnection, a reminder that life could be filled with joy and tranquility, despite the hardships we had faced. On the final night of our getaway, as we sat on the porch watching the stars, Rachel turned to me with a serious expression. "Jason, I know you've been through a lot, and I want you to know that I'm here for you, no matter what. But I also need to know if you're ready to move on, to truly leave the past behind and start building a future together." Her words struck a chord deep within me. I realized that I had been holding on to my anger and resentment towards Amanda, letting it cloud my judgment and affect my relationships. It was time to let go, to fully embrace the new life that lay ahead. Taking Rachel's hand, I looked into her eyes and said, "Rachel, you've been my rock through all of this. I'm ready to move on, and I want to build a future with you, a future filled with love, trust, and happiness." She smiled, tears of joy glistening in her eyes. That's all I needed to hear. Returning home, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. Rachel and I began making plans for our future, discussing everything from potential travel destinations to how we could blend our lives more seamlessly. We were a team, and together, we were unstoppable. As the months passed, Amanda's presence in my life faded into the background. She continued to reach out occasionally, seeking forgiveness and trying to repair her relationship with Olivia and Ethan. I allowed her to have supervised visits, understanding that despite everything, she was still their mother. However, I made it clear that there was no chance of reconciliation between us. My focus was on my children and my relationship with Rachel. We celebrated holidays and milestones together, creating new traditions and memories that strengthened our bond as a family. One evening, as we gathered around the dinner table, Ethan asked a question that caught me off guard. "Dad, are you and Rachel going to get married?" I glanced at Rachel, who smiled and nodded subtly. "Well, buddy, that's something Rachel and I have been talking about. How would you feel about that?" Olivia and Ethan exchanged excited looks. "We'd love it," they chorused. Rachel reached for my hand, and I squeezed it gently. "Then it's settled," I said, smiling at my children. "We'll start planning a wedding." As I looked around the table, at the faces of the people I loved most, I realized that I'd finally found the peace and happiness I'd been searching for. The storm had passed, and in its wake, a new life had emerged, one filled with hope, love, and endless possibilities. As the days turned into weeks, the sense of normalcy that had settled into our lives felt almost surreal. Amanda's presence had dwindled to a mere shadow of what it once was. My relationship with Rachel grew stronger, and the children were adjusting well to our new family dynamic. Yet, a part of me still harbored the need for one final act of closure, a decisive move that would ensure Amanda understood the full extent of her betrayal. With the divorce finalized and custody arrangements settled, I found myself with the time and mental clarity to focus on my plan. Amanda's public humiliation at her birthday party had been the first step, but it was time to ensure that her actions had more lasting repercussions. My plan involved reaching out to a close mutual friend, Jessica, who worked at the same company as Amanda. Jessica had always been discreet and trustworthy, and I knew she would be willing to help me with my final move. Over coffee, I explained my plan to Jessica. Amanda's affair not only destroyed our family, but also tarnished the trust between friends. I want to make sure that her actions don't go unnoticed in her professional life either. Jessica nodded thoughtfully. "I understand, Jason. Amanda's been acting as if nothing happened, and it's infuriating. What do you need me to do?" I handed her a folder containing all the evidence I had gathered, the receipts, photographs, and videos that Jack had collected. "I need you to anonymously leak this to her company's HR department. They'll take it from there." Jessica agreed, and within a week, the evidence had made its way to the right people. Amanda's company had strict policies against personal misconduct affecting the workplace, and her affair with Michael, who was also an employee, was a clear violation. The fallout was swift. Amanda was called into a meeting with HR, where she was presented with the evidence of her affair. She was given the option to resign quietly or face a formal investigation and potential termination. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Amanda chose to resign. With her professional life in shambles, Amanda reached out to me, pleading for a chance to explain. We met at a neutral location, a small park where we had once taken the kids to play. Her appearance was a stark contrast to the confident woman she used to be. She looked defeated, her eyes filled with regret. "Jason, please. I know I've made terrible mistakes. Losing my job, our friends, and most importantly, our family has been a harsh wake-up call. I just want a chance to make things right." I listened to her, feeling a mixture of pity and resolve. "Amanda, I gave you that chance when I confronted you about the affair. Instead of coming clean, you continued to lie and deceive. This is the result of your actions. I hope you can find a way to rebuild your life, but I have moved on." She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I understand. I just wanted you to know that I'm truly sorry. As she walked away, I felt a sense of closure. Amanda had finally faced the full consequences of her betrayal, and I could move forward without any lingering doubts or regrets. Life with Rachel and the kids continued to blossom. We planned our wedding, a simple but heartfelt ceremony, surrounded by close friends and family. The children were thrilled, and their joy was infectious. It was a fresh start for all of us, a chance to build new memories and traditions. On our wedding day, as Rachel and I exchanged vows, I looked around at the faces of our loved ones. The journey had been long and painful, but it had led to this beautiful moment. The past was behind us, and the future was filled with promise. After the ceremony, we celebrated with a small reception in our backyard. As the evening drew to a close, I took a moment to reflect on everything that had transpired. The pain, the betrayal, the revenge, all of it had brought me to this point. And standing there, hand in hand with Rachel, surrounded by the laughter and love of our friends and family, I realized that true happiness comes not from revenge, but from the strength to move on and build a better life. The storm had finally passed, and in its place was a life filled with hope, love, and endless possibilities. With Amanda out of my life and her betrayal exposed, I felt a sense of vindication and relief. However, the desire for closure still lingered. While Amanda had faced consequences in her professional life, I wanted to ensure that her actions left a lasting impression. I needed to set the stage for the final act of my plan. During this time, I continued to focus on my relationship with Rachel and the kids. We planned family outings, spent quality time together, and slowly began to rebuild our lives. But in the back of my mind, I was meticulously plotting the final steps of my plan. One evening, as Rachel and I were having dinner, I shared my thoughts with her. Rachel, there's one last thing I need to do. I need to ensure that Amanda understands the full extent of her betrayal. It's not just about her losing her job. It's about her facing the truth in front of everyone. Rachel looked at me with concern, but nodded in understanding. I get it, Jason. Just make sure that whatever you do, it's worth it. You need to be able to move on completely after this. I assured her that this was the final step, the last piece of the puzzle that would allow me to close this chapter of my life for good. With her support, I felt more determined than ever to see it through. I contacted Jack once more, asking for his help in setting up a meeting with Amanda and Michael. I wanted them both present for what I had planned. Jack, ever resourceful, managed to arrange a meeting at a neutral location, a small conference room at a nearby hotel. The pretext was simple. Amanda and Michael believed they were meeting to discuss potential reconciliation and moving forward without further conflicts. The day of the meeting arrived, and I felt a mix of anticipation and resolve. I arrived early, ensuring everything was in place. I set up a projector and a laptop, ready to present the final piece of evidence I had collected. This was more than just a confrontation. It was a reckoning. Amanda and Michael arrived looking apprehensive but curious. They had no idea what was about to unfold. I greeted them with a cold, composed demeanor and motioned for them to sit down. Thank you both for coming, I began, my voice steady. I know you're probably wondering why I asked you here. It's simple. I want you both to understand the full impact of your actions. I clicked play on the laptop, and the projector screen lit up with images and videos. It started with the receipts and photographs of their meetings, progressing to the footage from the hidden camera in our home. Every intimate moment, every deceitful act was laid bare. Amanda's face paled as she watched, and Michael shifted uncomfortably in his seat. The room was silent except for the damning evidence playing out on the screen. When it finally ended, I turned to them, my gaze unwavering. Amanda, Michael, this is the reality of what you've done. You've destroyed families, trust, and relationships. I wanted you to see the full extent of your betrayal. There's no escaping the truth now. Amanda broke down in tears, while Michael looked away, unable to meet my eyes. The weight of their actions had finally hit them. There was no more room for excuses or denials. I stood up, feeling a sense of finality wash over me. This is the end. I don't want to hear from either of you again. I've moved on, and you both need to deal with the consequences of your actions. With that, I walked out of the room, leaving them to face their guilt and regret. The final act of my plan was complete. and I felt a burden lift off my shoulders. It was time to move forward, to embrace the future with Rachel and the kids. Returning home that evening, I found Rachel waiting for me. She embraced me, sensing the change in my demeanor. "How did it go?" she asked gently. "It's done," I replied, feeling a sense of peace. "I'm ready to move on now." From that moment on, I focused entirely on building a new life. Rachel and I continued to plan our wedding, and our bond grew stronger each day. We created a loving, supportive environment for Olivia and Ethan, ensuring they felt secure and cherished. The storm had passed, and in its wake, a new beginning had emerged. With Rachel by my side, I was ready to embrace the future, filled with hope, love, and endless possibilities. With the final confrontation behind me, a sense of calm and closure settled into my life. Amanda and Michael had seen the full extent of their betrayal, and I was finally free to focus entirely on my future with Rachel and our children. It was time to rebuild, to create a life that was truly ours. Rachel and I threw ourselves into wedding planning, savoring every moment. We wanted the ceremony to be a celebration of new beginnings, surrounded by the people who had supported us through the toughest times. Olivia and Ethan were excited to be a part of it, their enthusiasm infectious. One Saturday morning, Rachel and I took the kids to visit a potential wedding venue, a charming vineyard on the outskirts of the city. The lush green fields dotted with grapevines provided a picturesque backdrop for our special day. As we walked hand in hand through the rows of vines, the children ran ahead, their laughter filling the air. "This place feels perfect," Rachel said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I can already picture our wedding here." I squeezed her hand, feeling a deep sense of contentment. It does feel perfect. It's exactly the fresh start we need. We booked the vineyard for our wedding and began working on the details. Invitations were sent out, dresses and suits were chosen, and we planned a menu filled with our favorite foods. Friends and family offered their help, eager to be part of our joyous celebration. As the wedding day approached, I found myself reflecting on the journey that had brought us to this point. The pain and betrayal I had endured seemed like a distant memory compared to the happiness and love that now filled my life. Rachel had been my rock, supporting me through every challenge, and our bond had only grown stronger. On the morning of our wedding, I woke up early, filled with anticipation. The vineyard was transformed into a magical setting, with flowers and twinkling lights adorning the space. Friends and family began to arrive, their smiles and warm wishes adding to the festive atmosphere. Standing at the altar, I watched as Rachel walked down the aisle, looking radiant in her wedding dress. Olivia and Ethan walked beside her, holding her hands, their faces beaming with happiness. As Rachel reached me, I took her hands in mine, feeling a wave of emotion wash over me. The ceremony was beautiful, filled with heartfelt vows and promises of love and commitment. As we exchanged rings and sealed our vows with a kiss, I felt a sense of completeness I had never known before. This was the beginning of a new chapter, one that I was eager to embrace with Rachel by my side. The reception was a joyous celebration with music, dancing, and laughter filling the vineyard. Olivia and Ethan were the stars of the dance floor, their energy and joy infectious. Rachel and I danced under the stars, surrounded by the people we loved most, and I knew that this was where I was meant to be. As the night drew to a close, Rachel and I took a moment to ourselves, stepping away from the festivities to sit under a canopy of twinkling lights. "We did it," Rachel said, leaning her head on my shoulder. "We're finally here." I kissed the top of her head, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "Yes, we did, and I couldn't have done it without you. You've given me a new lease on life, Rachel." She looked up at me, her eyes filled with love. "We've done this together, Jason. This is just the beginning of our story." As we sat there holding each other, I knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, we would face them together. The past was behind us, and the future was bright, filled with endless possibilities. Life after the wedding was everything I had hoped for and more. Rachel and I settled into a comfortable routine, balancing work, family, and our relationship. We continued to support Olivia and Ethan, helping them navigate the changes in their lives and providing them with a stable, loving home. Rachel and I also made time for ourselves, going on regular date nights and taking weekend trips to explore new places. Our love deepened with each passing day, and I felt a sense of fulfillment that I had never known before. One evening, as we sat on the porch of our home, watching the sunset, Rachel turned to me with a smile. "I've been thinking about something," she said. "How would you feel about expanding our family?" Her words took me by surprise, but as I looked into her eyes, I felt a surge of excitement. "I think that would be amazing," I replied, taking her hand in mine. "I can't imagine a better future than one filled with more love and laughter." And so our journey continued, filled with hope, love, and the promise of new beginnings. The storm of the past had passed, and in its place we had built a life filled with joy and endless possibilities. The days following our wedding were filled with a sense of serenity and fulfillment. Rachel and I had finally found our rhythm, blending our lives and creating a nurturing environment for Olivia and Ethan. Our family outings, shared meals, and quiet evenings at home were the building blocks of our new life together. But Rachel's suggestion about expanding our family lingered in my mind, filling me with a mix of excitement and anticipation. One crisp autumn morning, Rachel and I sat down to discuss our plans for the future. We both agreed that having another child would be a wonderful addition to our family, bringing even more love and joy into our lives. With a sense of renewed purpose, we decided to start trying for a baby. In the meantime, I focused on deepening my bond with Olivia and Ethan. They had been through so much upheaval, and it was important for me to provide them with stability and reassurance. We spent weekends exploring new parks, going on bike rides, and enjoying movie nights. The children's laughter and smiles were constant reminders of the resilience of the human spirit. As winter set in, Rachel and I continued to nurture our relationship. We celebrated the holidays with warmth and enthusiasm, creating new traditions that would become the foundation of our family memories. One snowy evening, as we sat by the fireplace, Rachel turned to me with a radiant smile. "Jason, I have some news," she said, her eyes sparkling. "I'm pregnant." The words took a moment to sink in, and when they did, I felt an overwhelming rush of joy. I wrapped my arms around her, holding her close as we both laughed and cried with happiness. This new life growing inside her was a testament to our love and the new beginning we had worked so hard to create. We shared the news with Olivia and Ethan the next morning, and their excitement was infectious. They immediately started planning for the arrival of their new sibling, suggesting names and talking about all the things they wanted to teach the baby. Their enthusiasm added to our joy, and we spent the following months preparing for the newest member of our family. As Rachel's pregnancy progressed, I marveled at her strength and grace. She continued to support and nurture our family, even as she dealt with the physical challenges of pregnancy. Our bond grew stronger, and I felt a deep sense of gratitude for having her in my life. One spring afternoon, as we were setting up the nursery, Rachel turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Jason, have you ever thought about writing down our story? Everything we've been through, and how we've come out stronger on the other side?" Her suggestion resonated with me. Writing had always been a therapeutic outlet, and sharing our journey could be a way to help others who were facing similar challenges. With Rachel's encouragement, I began to pen down our experiences, starting from the initial betrayal and culminating in our new beginning. As I wrote, I reflected on the lessons we had learned along the way, the importance of resilience, the power of love and forgiveness, and the strength that comes from facing adversity head-on. Our story was not just about betrayal and revenge. It was about healing, growth, and the endless possibilities that come with a new dawn. The day finally arrived when Rachel went into labor. We rushed to the hospital, filled with a mix of nerves and excitement. After several intense hours, our baby daughter Grace was born. Holding her in my arms for the first time, I felt a profound sense of completeness. This tiny, perfect being was the embodiment of our love and the bright future we had built together. Bringing Grace home was a joyous occasion. Olivia and Ethan were thrilled to meet their baby sister, showering her with affection and promising to be the best older siblings. Our home was filled with the sounds of laughter, cooing, and the gentle hum of new life. As the weeks turned into months, our family settled into a comfortable routine. Grace brought so much joy and light into our lives, and watching Olivia and Ethan bond with her was heartwarming. Rachel and I continued to support each other, finding strength and happiness in the love we shared. One evening, as we sat on the porch, watching the sunset with Grace in my arms and the older kids playing in the yard, I turned to Rachel. Thank you for everything, Rachel. You've made my life complete. She smiled, leaning her head on my shoulder. And thank you, Jason, for never giving up on us. We've built something beautiful together. Indeed, we had. Our journey had been marked by trials and tribulations, but we had emerged stronger and more united. The future was bright, filled with endless possibilities, and I knew that as long as we had each other, we could face anything that came our way. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over our home, I felt a deep sense of peace. Our past was behind us, and the future was a canvas waiting to be painted with the colors of our love and the joy of our growing family. This was our new dawn, and I was ready to embrace it with all my heart. Life with our newborn daughter, Grace, was both joyful and challenging. The sleepless nights and constant care required for an infant tested our resilience, but Rachel and I supported each other through every step. Olivia and Ethan proved to be wonderful older siblings, eager to help with their baby sister, and full of curiosity about her every move. One evening, as Rachel and I were sitting in the living room, watching Grace sleep in her crib, Rachel turned to me with a thoughtful expression. Jason, have you ever thought about starting a new project, something that we can work on together, now that our family is growing? Her question took me by surprise, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. We had overcome so much together, and now, with our lives more stable, it felt like the right time to embark on a new venture. What do you have in mind? I asked, curious about her ideas. Well, she began, I've always wanted to start a small business, something that combines our skills and passions. What if we opened a family-friendly cafe? A place where parents can relax while their kids play safely. The idea was intriguing. Rachel's background in hospitality and my experience in management made us a perfect team for such a project. The more we talked about it, the more excited we became. It would be a place where we could create a welcoming environment for families, just as we had created a loving home for our own. Over the next few months, we threw ourselves into planning and preparation. We found a charming location in the heart of our town, a cozy building with plenty of space for a play area and a comfortable seating arrangement for parents. We named it Family Haven Cafe, a tribute to the safe and nurturing space we wanted to create. Balancing the demands of our new business with caring for our growing family was no small feat, but Rachel and I were determined to make it work. We involved Olivia and Ethan in the process, letting them help with decorating the cafe and coming up with ideas for the menu. Their enthusiasm and creativity were invaluable, making them feel like an essential part of our new venture. The grand opening of Family Haven Cafe was a resounding success. Friends, family, and members of the community gathered to celebrate with us. The cafe quickly became a popular spot for parents to relax and connect, while their children played in the safe, supervised area. Seeing the smiles on the faces of our customers and hearing their positive feedback was incredibly rewarding. Running the cafe brought its own set of challenges, but Rachel and I faced them together, just as we had faced every other obstacle in our lives. Our bond grew stronger as we navigated the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. We learned to communicate better, to support each other even more, and to appreciate the unique strengths each of us brought to the table. As the months went by, Family Haven Cafe became a beloved community hub. We hosted events such as family game nights and parenting workshops, further cementing our place in the hearts of our customers. Olivia and Ethan continued to be actively involved, and Grace, who was growing fast, loved spending time in the play area with the other children. One evening after closing up the cafe, Rachel and I sat together, reflecting on how far we had come. I'm so proud of what we've built, Rachel said, her eyes filled with emotion. Not just the cafe, but our family, our life. I squeezed her hand, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. I couldn't have done it without you, Rachel. You've been my rock, my partner, and my best friend. Together, we can achieve anything. Our journey had been marked by trials and triumphs, but through it all, we had grown stronger and more united. The cafe was more than just a business. It was a symbol of our resilience and our commitment to building a future filled with love and happiness. As we looked towards the future, we knew that there would be more challenges to face and more dreams to pursue. But with our family by our side and our hearts full of hope, we were ready to embrace whatever came our way. Our new dawn was bright, and the possibilities were endless. Together, we would continue to build a life filled with love, laughter, and endless adventures. Running the Family Haven Cafe brought immense joy to our lives, but it also came with its share of challenges. Balancing our responsibilities at the cafe with the needs of our growing family required patience and resilience. However, each day brought new rewards, as we saw the positive impact our cafe had on the community and the happiness it brought to families. One sunny afternoon while Rachel was managing the cafe, I took Olivia and Ethan on a surprise outing. Grace stayed with her grandmother, allowing us to have some quality time together. We drove to a nearby nature reserve, a place filled with hiking trails, picnic spots, and a serene lake. The kids were thrilled, their excitement infectious. "Dad, this is amazing!" Olivia exclaimed as we set up our picnic near the lake. "We should come here more often." Ethan nodded in agreement, his eyes wide with wonder. "Yeah, this place is awesome." We spent the day exploring the trails, playing games, and enjoying the beauty of nature. As we sat by the lake, watching the sunset, I felt a deep sense of peace. These moments, surrounded by my children and the tranquility of nature, were a reminder of how far we had come and the strength of our bond. Returning home that evening, we found Rachel waiting for us with a warm smile. "How was your adventure?" she asked, hugging each of us in turn. "It was amazing, Mom," Olivia and Ethan chorused, their faces glowing with happiness. Rachel turned to me, her eyes full of gratitude. "Thank you, Jason. I think we all needed that." As life continued, we found ourselves settling into a comfortable routine. The cafe flourished, becoming a beloved gathering place for families. Our home was filled with laughter, love, and the joyful chaos that comes with raising children. Yet, amidst the happiness, there was still one aspect of our lives that needed healing. One evening, after the kids were asleep, Rachel and I sat together on the porch, enjoying the quiet of the night. Rachel turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Jason, I've been thinking a lot about Amanda. I know she's out of our lives now, but I can't help but wonder how she's doing. Do you ever think about reaching out to her?" Her question took me by surprise, but as I pondered it, I realized that Rachel was right. Amanda's betrayal had been a significant chapter in our lives, and while we had moved on, there was still a part of me that sought closure. I nodded slowly. "I have thought about it. Maybe it's time to let go of any lingering resentment and truly forgive her." With Rachel's support, I decided to reach out to Amanda. I didn't know what to expect, but I felt that this was a necessary step in our journey of healing. I found her number and sent a simple message, asking if she would be willing to meet and talk. To my surprise, Amanda responded quickly, agreeing to meet at a nearby park. The next day, I arrived at the park, feeling a mix of apprehension and determination. Amanda was already there, sitting on a bench, looking nervous. "Hi, Amanda," I greeted her, taking a seat beside her. "Hi, Jason," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. "Thank you for reaching out. I didn't expect to hear from you." We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of our shared history hanging in the air. Finally, I spoke. "Amanda, I wanted to talk to you because I realized that holding on to anger and resentment isn't helping anyone. We both made mistakes, and I think it's time to let go and forgive." Tears welled up in Amanda's eyes as she nodded. "Jason, I'm truly sorry for everything. I've had a lot of time to reflect on my actions, and I regret the pain I caused you and the kids." I took a deep breath, feeling a sense of release as I spoke the words I had been holding on to. "I forgive you, Amanda, for everything. I hope you can find peace and move forward with your life." She looked at me with gratitude and relief. "Thank you, Jason. That means more to me than you know." We talked for a while longer, sharing updates about our lives and finding common ground in our desire for closure and healing. As we parted ways, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. This meeting had been a necessary step in our journey, allowing us both to move on and find true healing. Returning home, I shared the experience with Rachel, who embraced me with pride and love. "I'm so proud of you, Jason. Forgiveness is a powerful thing, and it takes real strength to let go of the past." As we stood together, looking out at the night sky, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the life we had built. Our journey had been marked by challenges, but we had emerged stronger and more united. With the past finally behind us, we were free to embrace the future, filled with love, hope, and endless possibilities. Our story was one of resilience, healing, and the power of love. As we move forward, I knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, we would face them together, with the strength of our bond and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. With the chapter on forgiveness and healing behind us, our lives began to flourish in new and unexpected ways. The Family Haven Cafe continued to thrive, becoming not just a business, but a beloved part of the community. Rachel and I were constantly amazed by the support and love we received from our customers, many of whom had become friends. One day, while working at the cafe, Rachel approached me with an idea. "Jason, have you ever thought about expanding our community involvement? We've created such a wonderful space here. I think we could do even more to give back." Her suggestion resonated with me. The cafe had become a sanctuary for families, and we had the potential to make an even greater impact. We brainstormed various ways to contribute to the community, ultimately deciding to host free monthly workshops and events focused on parenting, wellness, and family bonding. Our first event was a parenting workshop led by a local child psychologist. The turnout exceeded our expectations, with parents eager to learn and share their experiences. The discussions were lively and engaging, creating a sense of camaraderie among the attendees. It was clear that we had tapped into a genuine need within the community. Encouraged by the success of our first event, we continued to host a variety of workshops and activities, from family yoga sessions to nutrition classes and support groups for new parents. The cafe became a hub of learning and connection. Each event brought new faces and strengthened our ties with the community. As our involvement grew, so did our sense of purpose. One particularly impactful event was a charity drive we organized to support local families in need. With the help of our customers and friends, we collected donations of food, clothing, and school supplies. The outpouring of generosity was overwhelming, and we were able to make a significant difference in the lives of many families. During the charity drive, Olivia and Ethan played a crucial role, helping to sort and pack donations. Seeing their enthusiasm and compassion filled me with pride. It was a powerful lesson for them about the importance of giving back and supporting others. One evening, after a busy day at the cafe, we gathered as a family in the living room. Olivia and Ethan were buzzing with excitement, recounting their experiences from the charity drive. "Dad, it felt so good to help people," Ethan said, his eyes shining. "Can we do more things like that?" "Absolutely," I replied, smiling at him. "Helping others is one of the most important things we can do." Rachel nodded in agreement, wrapping her arm around my shoulders. "We're building something special here, Jason. Not just a business, but a community that cares for one another." Our efforts to give back extended beyond the cafe. We partnered with local schools to offer mentorship programs, and we supported small businesses by hosting pop-up markets and networking events. Each initiative strengthened our bonds with the community and reinforced the values we wanted to instill in our children. As the seasons changed, so did our family. Grace was growing rapidly, her infectious laughter bringing joy to our home. Olivia and Ethan continued to thrive, excelling in school and embracing their roles as older siblings. Rachel and I found balance in our busy lives, making time for each other amidst the demands of work and parenting. One spring afternoon, as we were preparing for another community event, Rachel approached me with a thoughtful expression. "Jason, I've been thinking about something. What if we started a foundation, a way to formalize our efforts and reach even more people?" The idea was inspiring, and I immediately saw its potential. "That's a brilliant idea, Rachel. We could make a real, lasting impact." We set to work, establishing the Family Haven Foundation. Its mission was simple: to support and empower families through education, resources, and community engagement. We secured funding through grants and donations, and soon, the foundation became a vital extension of our cafe's work. Our first major project was creating a scholarship program for underprivileged students. The response was heartening, and we were able to provide several deserving young people with the opportunity to pursue higher education. Seeing the joy and gratitude in their eyes was one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. The foundation also allowed us to expand our reach, partnering with other organizations to address issues such as mental health, domestic violence, and economic hardship. Each initiative was a step towards building a stronger, more supportive community. As I looked back on our journey, I realized how far we had come. From the depths of betrayal and heartache, we had risen to create something beautiful and meaningful. Our lives were enriched by the connections we had made and the lives we had touched. One evening, as we sat on the porch, watching the sunset over our bustling cafe and the community we had built, Rachel turned to me with a smile. "We did it, Jason. We turned our pain into purpose." I nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "Yes, we did, and there's so much more we can do." With our family by our side and our community supporting us, I knew that the future held endless possibilities. Together, we would continue to grow, to give, and to create a legacy of love and compassion. This was our journey, and it was only just beginning. As the Family Haven Foundation flourished, so did our sense of fulfillment and purpose. Our efforts were making a tangible difference in the community, and the cafe had become a symbol of hope and support for many families. However, Rachel and I felt there were still more horizons to explore and new opportunities to pursue. One evening, while we were closing up the cafe, Rachel looked at me with a glint of excitement in her eyes. "Jason, I've been thinking, what if we expanded Family Haven beyond our town? We've created something special here, and I believe other communities could benefit from it too." Her suggestion sparked a wave of possibilities in my mind. Expanding our reach meant more families could experience the support and camaraderie we had fostered. "You're right, Rachel. We could create a network of Family Haven cafes, each with its foundation to support local families." We spent the following months planning the expansion, researching potential locations, and reaching out to investors who shared our vision. Our goal was to maintain the heart and soul of Family Haven, while adapting it to the unique needs of each community we served. Our first expansion was in a neighboring town, a community similar to ours but with its distinct character. We found a charming building in the town center, perfect for replicating the cozy, welcoming atmosphere of our original cafe. With the support of our investors and the enthusiasm of the local community, the new Family Haven Cafe opened its doors. The grand opening was a resounding success. Families poured in, eager to experience the new space. We replicated our popular events and workshops, tailoring them to the interests and needs of the new community. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and we knew we were onto something special. Inspired by our success, we continued to expand. Each new location brought its challenges and rewards, but our core values remained the same: creating a safe, nurturing space for families to connect and grow. We worked closely with local leaders and organizations, ensuring that each cafe and foundation was deeply rooted in the community it served. Back at home, our family continued to thrive. Grace was now a curious toddler, her laughter filling our home with joy. Olivia and Ethan were growing into compassionate, responsible young people, taking on more responsibilities both at home and within the cafe. They were proud of what we had built and eager to contribute. One evening, after a particularly busy day, Rachel and I sat together, reflecting on our journey. "It's incredible to see how far we've come," she said, her eyes shining with pride. "We've turned our vision into a reality, and it's making a real difference." I nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "None of this would have been possible without you, Rachel. You've been my partner in every sense of the word, and I couldn't have asked for a better person to share this journey with." As we expanded our horizons, we also took time to nurture our relationship. Regular date nights, weekend getaways, and quiet moments together helped us stay connected amidst the hustle and bustle of our growing enterprise. Our love for each other was the foundation upon which everything else was built. One spring afternoon, we received an invitation to speak at a national conference on community building and family support. It was an opportunity to share our story and inspire others to create similar spaces in their communities. We accepted the invitation, eager to share our journey and the lessons we had learned along the way. The conference was a transformative experience. We met countless individuals and organizations dedicated to making a positive impact. Sharing our story was both humbling and empowering, and we left the conference with a renewed sense of purpose and a network of new allies. As we continued to grow and evolve, we remained committed to our core mission. Each new Family Haven Cafe was a testament to the power of community, love, and resilience. We had turned our pain into purpose, and in doing so, we had created a legacy that would endure for generations. One evening, as we watched the sunset from our porch, Surrounded by the laughter of our children and the warmth of our home, Rachel turned to me with a smile. Jason, we've built something truly beautiful. I can't wait to see what the future holds. I took her hand in mine, feeling a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. Neither can I, Rachel. We've only just begun. With our family by our side and a world of possibilities ahead, we were ready to embrace whatever the future held. Together, we would continue to grow, to give, and to create a legacy of love and compassion. This was our journey, and it was only just beginning. As Family Haven continued to expand, the demands on our time and energy grew exponentially. Managing multiple locations while ensuring that each cafe retained the heart and soul of our original vision was no small feat. Rachel and I found ourselves juggling an ever-increasing array of responsibilities, from overseeing operations to mentoring new team members and staying engaged with our local communities. Despite the challenges, our commitment to our mission never wavered. Each new cafe brought its own set of unique needs and opportunities, and we were determined to meet them with the same passion and dedication that had driven us from the start. One evening, as we sat together after a particularly exhausting day, Rachel sighed deeply. Jason, do you ever feel like we're stretching ourselves too thin? I love what we're doing, but sometimes it feels like we're losing ourselves in the process. Her words resonated with me. I had been feeling the same way, overwhelmed by the constant demands and the pressure to succeed. I know what you mean, Rachel. Maybe it's time we reassess our priorities and find a way to balance our work with our personal lives. We decided to take a step back and evaluate our approach. We brought in additional staff to help manage the daily operations and delegated more responsibilities to our trusted team members. This allowed us to focus on strategic decisions and spend more quality time with our family. The changes made a significant difference. With a more balanced workload, Rachel and I found ourselves with the mental and emotional space to reconnect and recharge. We resumed our regular date nights, planned weekend getaways, and spent more time enjoying simple pleasures with our children. One weekend, we decided to take a family trip to a cabin in the mountains. The fresh air and breathtaking scenery provided a much-needed escape from our hectic routine. We hiked through lush forests, fished in crystal-clear streams, and spent evenings around the campfire, sharing stories and laughter. One evening, as we sat around the campfire, Olivia and Ethan asked us about the early days of Family Haven. "How did you come up with the idea?" Olivia asked, her eyes wide with curiosity. Rachel and I exchanged a glance, smiling as we reminisced. It all started with a dream to create a space where families could come together and find support, Rachel began. We wanted to build something that reflected the values of love, community, and resilience. Ethan nodded thoughtfully. "And you've done that, haven't you? All the cafes, the foundation. It's amazing." I felt a surge of pride and gratitude. "Yes, we have, but it hasn't been easy. There have been many challenges along the way, and we've had to learn and grow through each one." Grace, now a lively toddler, clapped her hands excitedly. "And now we have a big family." We all laughed, the warmth of the fire and the love of our family, creating a perfect moment of contentment. This trip reminded us of the importance of slowing down and savoring the moments that truly mattered. Returning home with a renewed sense of purpose, Rachel and I continued to refine our approach to managing Family Haven. We focused on creating a sustainable model that allowed us to maintain the quality and integrity of each cafe while also taking care of our well-being. Our efforts paid off. The cafes thrived, and the foundation continued to make a meaningful impact in the communities we served. We also made time to pursue personal interests and hobbies, finding joy in activities that nurtured our spirits and strengthened our bond. One summer, we decided to host a family reunion at the original Family Haven Cafe. Relatives from near and far gathered to celebrate not only our success, but also the love and support that had carried us through our journey. It was a joyous occasion, filled with laughter, stories, and heartfelt connections. As the evening drew to a close, Rachel and I stood together, looking out at our family and friends. "We've come a long way," Rachel said, her voice filled with emotion. "But what's most important is that we've stayed true to ourselves and each other." I nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "Yes, and we've built something that will last for generations. Our legacy is not just in the cafes or the foundation, but in the love and values we've instilled in our children and our community." As we embraced, I realized that the challenges we had faced were a testament to our resilience and determination. We had navigated the complexities of success while staying grounded in what truly mattered. With our family by our side and our hearts full of hope, we were ready to face whatever the future held. As Family Haven continued to grow and prosper, Rachel and I felt more balanced and in control of our lives. However, life has a way of presenting new challenges just when you think you've found your footing. One summer afternoon, as we were preparing for a community event at the cafe, I received an unexpected phone call from my doctor. "Jason, we need to discuss the results of your recent health checkup," the doctor said, his tone serious. "Can you come in this afternoon?" My heart sank, a sense of dread creeping in. I agreed to the appointment and hung up the phone, my mind racing with worry. Rachel noticed my distress and immediately came to my side. "What's wrong, Jason?" she asked, her eyes filled with concern. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "The doctor wants to discuss my test results." He sounded serious. Rachel's face paled, but she squeezed my hand reassuringly. "Let's go together. Whatever it is, we'll face it together." That afternoon, we sat in the doctor's office, holding hands as we waited for the news. When the doctor finally entered, his expression confirmed my worst fears. "Jason, I'm afraid we found a small tumor during your routine checkup. It's early, but we need to address it immediately." The words hit me like a ton of bricks. Rachel's grip tightened on my hand as we listened to the doctor explain the next steps, further tests, potential treatments, and the importance of early intervention. The uncertainty of it all was overwhelming, but I knew I had to stay strong for my family. Leaving the doctor's office, Rachel and I walked in silence, processing the gravity of the situation. When we reached the car, she turned to me, tears in her eyes. "Jason, we'll get through this. You're not alone. We'll fight this together." I nodded, feeling a mix of fear and determination. "I know, Rachel, and I'm going to do everything I can to beat this." The following weeks were a whirlwind of medical appointments and tests. The support from our family, friends, and the community was overwhelming. People rallied around us, offering help and encouragement. The cafe staff stepped up, taking on more responsibilities to allow Rachel and me to focus on my health. One evening, after a particularly grueling day of tests, I sat with Olivia and Ethan to explain what was happening. They had sensed that something was wrong and deserved to know the truth. "Dad, are you going to be okay?" Olivia asked, her voice trembling with worry. I hugged them both tightly, trying to reassure them. "I'm going to do everything I can to get better, and we have so many people supporting us. We're going to get through this as a family." Their concern and love strengthened my resolve. I knew I had to fight, not just for myself, but for Rachel, Olivia, Ethan, and Grace. They needed me, and I was determined to be there for them. Throughout my treatment, Rachel was my rock. She managed the cafe, took care of the kids, and supported me through every difficult moment. Her strength and unwavering love gave me the courage to keep going, even when things seemed bleak. There were days when the pain and fatigue were almost too much to bear, but I drew strength from the love that surrounded me. The community continued to rally around us, organizing fundraisers and sending messages of support. It was a humbling reminder of the impact Family Haven had made and the bonds we had forged. As the months passed, the treatments began to show positive results. The tumor was shrinking, and the prognosis became more hopeful. Each small victory was celebrated with tears of joy and gratitude. Rachel and I grew even closer, our love deepening as we navigated this challenging journey together. One crisp autumn day, we received the news we had been praying for. The tumor was in remission. The relief and joy were indescribable. We celebrated with our family and friends, grateful for the support that had carried us through the darkest times. Sitting on the porch that evening, Rachel and I reflected on the journey. "We've faced so much, Jason," she said, her voice filled with emotion, "but we've come out stronger and more united than ever." I nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without you, Rachel. Your love and support have been my anchor." As we embraced, I knew that our journey was far from over. Life would always present new challenges, but we had proven that we could face anything together. With our family by our side and the love of our community, we were ready to embrace whatever the future held. With the tumor in remission and my health steadily improving, life began to return to a sense of normalcy. The ordeal had been a stark reminder of the fragility of life, and it had deepened our appreciation for every moment we shared as a family. Rachel and I were determined to make the most of this second chance, rediscovering the joy that had brought us together in the first place. One crisp winter morning, as we were enjoying breakfast with the kids, Rachel suggested, "What if we took a family trip? We've all been through so much, and I think we could use some time away to reconnect and celebrate life." The idea was met with enthusiastic approval from Olivia and Ethan, and even Grace clapped her hands in excitement. We decided on a week-long getaway to a cozy cabin in the mountains, a place where we could relax, unwind, and enjoy each other's company. The trip was everything we needed, and more. We spent our days exploring snowy trails, building snowmen, and having spirited snowball fights. In the evenings, we gathered around the fireplace, sipping hot cocoa and sharing stories. The laughter and love that filled the cabin were a testament to the strength and resilience of our family. One evening, as the kids were roasting marshmallows by the fire, Rachel and I stepped outside to take in the serene beauty of the snow-covered landscape. The moon cast a gentle glow over the mountains, and the silence was broken only by the distant sound of a howling wolf. Rachel leaned against me, her breath visible in the cold air. "This is perfect, Jason. I feel so grateful for everything we have." I wrapped my arm around her, feeling the warmth of her love. "Me too, Rachel. This trip has reminded me of what's truly important, our family and the joy we find in each other." As we stood there, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The challenges we had faced had only made us stronger, and I was determined to cherish every moment we had together. Upon returning home, we carried the spirit of our trip with us, making a conscious effort to prioritize family time amidst our busy schedules. We planned regular outings, game nights, and movie marathons, ensuring that our home was always filled with laughter and love. At the cafe, we continued to foster a sense of community, hosting events and workshops that brought people together. The support we had received during my illness had been overwhelming, and we were committed to giving back in any way we could. Our efforts were met with gratitude and appreciation, further strengthening the bonds we had built. One spring afternoon, as I was working on a new initiative for the foundation, Rachel walked in with a mischievous smile. "I have a surprise for you," she said, holding up 2 tickets. "What's this?" I asked, intrigued. "A weekend getaway for just the 2 of us," she replied, her eyes twinkling with excitement. I thought it was time we had some alone time to reconnect. I couldn't help but smile. Rachel always knew how to bring joy into our lives. "That sounds wonderful, Rachel. Where are we going?" "A charming bed and breakfast by the lake," she said. "It's the perfect place to relax and enjoy some quiet time together." The weekend getaway was exactly what we needed. The bed and breakfast were nestled in a picturesque setting, surrounded by blooming flowers and the tranquil waters of the lake. We spent our days hiking, boating, and enjoying leisurely picnics by the water. The time alone allowed us to reconnect on a deeper level, sharing our dreams and aspirations for the future. One evening, as we sat on the porch of the bed and breakfast, watching the sunset over the lake, Rachel took my hand. "Jason, we've been through so much, but I wouldn't trade any of it. It's made us who we are and brought us to this moment." I looked into her eyes, feeling a profound sense of love and gratitude. "I feel the same way, Rachel. Our journey has been filled with ups and downs, but every challenge has brought us closer together. I can't imagine my life without you." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the water, I realized that our love had been forged in the fires of adversity and had emerged stronger and more resilient. We had faced our trials together and had come out on the other side with a deeper appreciation for life and each other. Returning home, we felt recharged and ready to embrace whatever the future held. Our family continued to thrive, each day filled with new adventures and cherished moments. The cafe and foundation flourished, becoming a beacon of hope and support for the community. With the tumor in remission and my health steadily improving, life began to return to a sense of normalcy. The ordeal had been a stark reminder of the fragility of life, and it had deepened our appreciation for every moment we shared as a family. Rachel and I were determined to make the most of this second chance, rediscovering the joy that had brought us together in the first place. One crisp winter morning, as we were enjoying breakfast with the kids, Rachel suggested, "What if we took a family trip? We've all been through so much, and I think we could use some time away to reconnect and celebrate life. The idea was met with enthusiastic approval from Olivia and Ethan, and even Grace clapped her hands in excitement. We decided on a week-long getaway to a cozy cabin in the mountains, a place where we could relax, unwind, and enjoy each other's company. The trip was everything we needed and more. We spent our days exploring snowy trails, building snowmen, and having spirited snowball fights. In the evenings, we gathered around the fireplace, sipping hot cocoa and sharing stories. The laughter and love that filled the cabin were a testament to the strength and resilience of our family. One evening, as the kids were roasting marshmallows by the fire, Rachel and I stepped outside to take in the serene beauty of the snow-covered landscape. The moon cast a gentle glow over the mountains, and the silence was broken only by the distant sound of a howling wolf. Rachel leaned against me, her breath visible in the cold air. "This is perfect, Jason. I feel so grateful for everything we have." I wrapped my arm around her, feeling the warmth of her love. "Me too, Rachel. This trip has reminded me of what's truly important, our family and the joy we find in each other." As we stood there, I felt a renewed sense of purpose. The challenges we had faced had only made us stronger, and I was determined to cherish every moment we had together. Upon returning home, we carried the spirit of our trip with us, making a conscious effort to prioritize family time amidst our busy schedules. We planned regular outings, game nights, and movie marathons, ensuring that our home was always filled with laughter and love. At the cafe, we continued to foster a sense of community, hosting events and workshops that brought people together. The support we had received during my illness had been overwhelming, and we were committed to giving back in any way we could. Our efforts were met with gratitude and appreciation, further strengthening the bonds we had built. One spring afternoon, as I was working on a new initiative for the foundation, Rachel walked in with a mischievous smile. "I have a surprise for you," she said, holding up 2 tickets. "What's this?" I asked, intrigued. "A weekend getaway for just the 2 of us," she replied, her eyes twinkling with excitement. "I thought it was time we had some alone time to reconnect." I couldn't help but smile. Rachel always knew how to bring joy into our lives. "That sounds wonderful, Rachel. Where are we going?" "A charming bed and breakfast by the lake," she said. "It's the perfect place to relax and enjoy some quiet time together." The weekend getaway was exactly what we needed. The bed and breakfast were nestled in a picturesque setting, surrounded by blooming flowers and the tranquil waters of the lake. We spent our days hiking, boating, and enjoying leisurely picnics by the water. The time alone allowed us to reconnect on a deeper level, sharing our dreams and aspirations for the future. One evening, as we sat on the porch of the bed and breakfast, watching the sunset over the lake, Rachel took my hand. "Jason, we've been through so much, but I wouldn't trade any of it. It's made us who we are and brought us to this moment." I looked into her eyes, feeling a profound sense of love and gratitude. "I feel the same way, Rachel. Our journey has been filled with ups and downs, but every challenge has brought us closer together. I can't imagine my life without you." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the water, I realized that our love had been forged in the fires of adversity and had emerged stronger and more resilient. We had faced our trials together and had come out on the other side with a deeper appreciation for life and each other. Returning home, we felt recharged and ready to embrace whatever the future held. Our family continued to thrive, each day filled with new adventures and cherished moments. The cafe and foundation flourished, becoming a beacon of hope and support for the community. As the years passed, our lives settled into a beautiful rhythm. The Family Haven cafes thrived, each location becoming an integral part of its community. The foundation continued to support families, offering resources and a sense of belonging. Olivia and Ethan blossomed into compassionate, driven young adults, and Grace grew into a curious and energetic child who brought endless joy to our lives. One day, Rachel and I sat down to discuss the future of Family Haven. We had always envisioned it as a legacy that would endure long after we were gone, but we knew it was time to think about succession and how to ensure its continued success. "Jason, I've been thinking," Rachel began, her voice thoughtful. "We should start preparing Olivia and Ethan to take on more responsibilities within the business. They've grown up with Family Haven, and I believe they're ready to play a larger role." I nodded, feeling a surge of pride. "I agree. They've shown so much maturity and dedication. It's time to involve them more in the decision-making process and help them develop their leadership skills. We called Olivia and Ethan into the living room and shared our thoughts with them. They were both excited and eager to contribute more to the business that had been such a significant part of their lives. "Wow, this is such an incredible opportunity," Olivia said, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. "I'd love to learn more about running the cafe and the foundation." Ethan nodded in agreement. "Me too. I've always admired what you and Mom have built, and I want to be a part of its future." Rachel and I spent the next few months mentoring Olivia and Ethan, teaching them the intricacies of the business and involving them in key decisions. They brought fresh perspectives and innovative ideas, infusing new energy into Family Haven. It was a joy to watch them grow into their roles and take ownership of the legacy we had created. As Olivia and Ethan took on more responsibilities, Rachel and I found ourselves with a bit more time to focus on our passions and interests. Rachel pursued her love for photography, capturing the beauty of our community and the moments that made Family Haven special. I returned to writing, chronicling our journey and the lessons we had learned along the way. One evening, as we were sitting on the porch, Rachel turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Jason, what if we wrote a book together? Our story could inspire others who are going through similar challenges. It could be a way to share the wisdom we've gained and the importance of community and resilience." The idea resonated deeply with me. "That's a wonderful idea, Rachel. Our journey has been filled with so many valuable lessons. Writing a book could be a way to give back and help others navigate their paths." We began working on the book, pouring our hearts into each chapter. We shared the highs and lows, the triumphs and the trials, and the unwavering support of our family and community. It was a cathartic and fulfilling process, bringing us even closer as we relived our journey through words. As we neared the completion of the book, we decided to host a launch event at the original Family Haven Cafe. It was the perfect setting, surrounded by the people who'd been part of our story from the beginning. The launch event was a beautiful celebration of our journey. Friends, family, and community members gathered to hear us speak about the book and the experiences that had shaped our lives. Olivia and Ethan played key roles in organizing the event, showcasing their growing leadership skills. As we signed copies of the book and shared stories with attendees, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Our journey had been marked by resilience, love, and the power of community. And now, we were able to share that journey with others, offering hope and inspiration. Later that evening, as the cafe emptied and we gathered with our family, Rachel looked around at the smiling faces. "This is what it's all about," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "The connections we've made, the lives we've touched, and the love that binds us all together." I nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "Yes, Rachel, we've built something truly special, and with Olivia and Ethan ready to carry on the legacy, I know that Family Haven will continue to thrive for generations to come." As we stood together, surrounded by our children and the warmth of our community, I realized that our journey was far from over. There were still new horizons to explore, new challenges to face, and new joys to discover. With our family by our side and the love and support of our community, we were ready to embrace the future. As the torch passed to Olivia and Ethan, Rachel and I found ourselves stepping back from the day-to-day operations of Family Haven. Watching our children take the reins was both exhilarating and emotional. They brought fresh ideas and youthful energy, ensuring that our vision continued to evolve and adapt to the changing times. One sunny morning, as Rachel and I enjoyed a quiet breakfast on the porch, Ethan approached us with an excited look on his face. "Mom, Dad, I have an idea for expanding the foundation's reach," he said, holding up a stack of papers. "I've been researching online platforms that could help us offer virtual workshops and resources to families who can't physically come to the cafe." Rachel and I exchanged a proud glance. "That sounds like a fantastic idea, Ethan," Rachel said. "It's a great way to make our resources accessible to even more people." Olivia joined us carrying her laptop. "And I've been working on a partnership with local schools to offer after-school programs and family counseling services. We can use the Foundation's resources to support students and their families in new ways." As they laid out their plans, I felt a surge of pride. Our children were not just continuing our legacy, but expanding it in ways we hadn't even imagined. Their passion and dedication were a testament to the values we had instilled in them. With Olivia and Ethan leading the charge, the Family Haven Foundation entered a new era. The virtual workshops were an immediate success, reaching families across the country and even internationally. The after-school programs provided much-needed support for students, helping them navigate academic and personal challenges. Rachel and I continued to support them, offering guidance and sharing our experiences. We attended the events and workshops, proud to see the positive impact our children were making. The community embraced the new initiatives, and Family Haven's reputation as a beacon of support and love grew even stronger. One evening, as we were gathered around the dinner table, Olivia made an announcement. "I've been accepted into a master's program in social work," she said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I want to deepen my understanding of family dynamics and use that knowledge to help even more people through the foundation." We celebrated her achievement, knowing that her dedication and passion would bring even more strength to Family Haven. Ethan, inspired by his sister's commitment, decided to pursue further studies in business management, with a focus on nonprofit organizations. Rachel and I encouraged them every step of the way, proud of their ambitions and the paths they were carving for themselves. Their journeys were just beginning, and we were eager to see where their passions would lead them. As Olivia and Ethan pursued their studies, Grace continued to grow, her boundless curiosity and energy bringing joy to our lives. She loved spending time at the cafe, interacting with customers, and helping out where she could. It was clear that the spirit of Family Haven was deeply ingrained in her as well. One day, as we were all working together at the cafe, Grace approached us with a shy smile. "Mom, Dad, can I help with the kids' activities today? I have some ideas for new games we could play." Rachel and I beamed with pride. "Of course, Grace," Rachel said. "We'd love to hear your ideas." Grace's enthusiasm and creativity were infectious. She organized a series of fun and educational activities for the children, delighting both the kids and their parents. It was a reminder that the next generation was already stepping up, ready to contribute in their unique ways. As the years went by, Rachel and I found ourselves with more time to enjoy each other's company. We traveled to new places, explored our hobbies, and cherished the quiet moments together. Our love had grown even deeper through the trials and triumphs we had faced, and we were grateful for every day we shared. One summer evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Rachel turned to me with a contented smile. "Jason, we've built something truly special. Our children are thriving, and Family Haven is making a difference in so many lives. I couldn't be happier." I took her hand in mine, feeling the warmth of her love. "Neither could I, Rachel. We've created a legacy that will endure for generations, and it's all because of the love and determination we've shared." As we looked out over the horizon, I felt a deep sense of peace. Our journey had been filled with challenges, but each one had brought us closer together and made us stronger. The future was bright, and we were ready to embrace whatever came our way. With our family by our side and the love of our community, we knew that the possibilities were endless. Together, we would continue to build a life filled with hope, joy, and endless adventures. This was the next chapter of our story, and it was only just beginning.